Hi, my name is Steve Willis at RedJade. Today I'm going to walk you through how to log into your account and create a project using RedJade. The first thing you will do is you'll go to the website redjade.net. We recommend using a Google Chrome browser. However, any up-to-date web browser will work. When you're on redjade.net, you can click the customer login button, and this will take you to the login site. Feel free to bookmark this site in order to log into RedJade in the future. You'll put in your email address and password, and you will click sign in. Once you're signed into RedJade, you'll see that it will say welcome back in your name. On the left-hand side, you'll have things that are important for you, so upcoming events and recent projects. And the right-hand side will navigate through the application. The first thing I'm going to do is show you some different features that we have available to you. Please note that everything I show you is available via our support website. To access our support website, you'll click the question mark in the upper right corner. You will click Visit Support Site, and you will be redirected through a new browser to our support site. Please note that if you are not logged in automatically, you can use your same RedJade credentials to log into this help desk. This should be your first line of defense if you have any questions about how to use RedJade. Your second line of defense should be other classmates. Your third line of defense should be your professor. And finally, if you are still having trouble, you can email support at redjade.net as a last resort. We are not really designed to support student tickets, but if you have something that you really can't figure out, you can submit a support ticket. Just know that we are a very busy and heavily staffed organization. So I'm going to go back to my account, and you'll notice that I'm going to click on the admin feature. Now, if you're going to be working in teams, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to click on this team button here, and you're going to want to add the other members of the team to your team. It's important to note here that this is one-way sharing. You are allowing the other students to see your project. They must add you as well in order for you to see their projects. My suggestion here is if there's a team of people working on a project, you have one person create the project and then that person should add everyone to their team. That would allow each team member to see, update, and customize that project. You can click the plus button, or you can drag and actually you must click the plus button. Those are the really important information on this page. You can update your profile. You can update some defaults as well here. You can change some default settings here as well. Just make sure you click the submit button when you're done making those changes. When we're done here, we're going to click the R in the upper left-hand corner. The next step we're going to do is to create our project. So from here, I'm going to click Create a Project. I'll click Project and go into the Projects folder. This is going to show me a list of every project I have created or I have access to, again, through either team sharing or individual project sharing. From this menu, I'm going to click the Create button. This is going to start the process of creating a new project. To do so, I type in my project name. Let's say Team 1, and let's say we are going to do vanilla ice cream. All of these words, all 5 of these words that I have typed here would be searchable on that previous project's page. From here, I'm going to click the green Next button in the lower right corner, and I'm going to start putting in my samples. So I'm going to go ahead and start doing that. We might have Dryers, we might have Briars, Turkey Hill, Publix, Bluebell, and Great Value. So I'm going to go ahead and add all of these different samples here as well. You can see that you can put more information about any of the samples you want to on the right-hand side. I'll then click the Next button. You just created your project, so RedJade is going to assume that you want to create a test. There's some different test types here. I would recommend using the acceptance test unless you really want one of these other types of tests here. The most different one here is a cutting test, which allows you to evaluate products and not follow an enforced serving order. Here, I'm going to go ahead and click an acceptance test. You can enter a test name if you want to. Maybe we'll say Team 1, Trial 1. And we'll go ahead and we'll continue with the wizard. You'll see that regardless of the previous test type that was selected, you will see a 5-step wizard that's going to walk us through the process of creating this test. Now, I'm not sure how you are going to be using RedJade to collect data, but I will explain some different choices. On-site means you're going to use computers that you have registered to collect data using RedJade. My best guess is that you will not be using this functionality for your tests. You can do an off-site test. The off-site test allows you to host at a RedJade member facility, or alternatively, send a URL to a non-RedJade member facility. This is the most likely way that you're going to conduct your test. This will create a unique URL that will allow people to register a group of computers for a specific test. Okay. The last way is online, and another way you may consider conducting your test is through a packing slip option. In fact, that's what I'm going to show you here. So I'm going to go ahead and click packing slips, and you'll see what it does is it actually creates a URL that will be unique for this test. So here, we'll go ahead and enter the URL identifier. So I'll just say test ABCDEF. Actually, ABC123. And you'll notice that now the survey URL is surveys.redjade.net/test ABC123. This is important. If the person does not type in the correct survey address, they will get an error. Okay. This would really allow you to conduct testing on any computer. This is really designed as a home use test. What you get when you're done is it will print out an entire sheet of paper with a survey URL, a verification code, and the serving order. This works really well in the university concept, as you could just hand a piece of paper to each individual as they walk into your test, or if you're serving products, you could have a piece of paper assigned to a specific person. So any of those alternatives work, but let's walk through this. The important parts here are the survey URL, which will be automatically printed on your piece of paper. And again, that would be this surveys.redjade.net/test ABC123. The verification code is going to correspond to their serving order, which is here in the design block, which we'll get to on step 5. And the last thing you'll see here is the serving order. This will correspond to the product serving order that each person will use to evaluate their products. So let's go ahead and let's click the next button. Let's just use our default text that we have built in automatically within RedJade. The next step is going to be to type in our participants. All we're doing here is putting how many people we want to come to our test. If I put 100 in this step, RedJade will automatically create 130 design lines. So 30% over the number you put here. I'm going to come back to this demographics step in a few minutes. So let's go ahead and click next. That's a nice quick step. Our next step is going to be to schedule our test. This is the dates and times that our survey will be active. If you are planning on testing November 2nd, you might make your survey start on November 2nd at 12 a.m. and you might have it end on November 3rd at 12 a.m. So your test will be active for 24 hours. You can set these times to be whatever you'd like them to be. I'm going to go ahead and actually change my start date to today, which is October 25th. And now my survey will be active when I'm done. And I'm just going to call this sample test survey. And we'll go ahead and click next. Our next step is going to be to create our questionnaires. And you'll see a couple of things here. One is I can edit my test instructions. So these are the instructions that the participant sees when they go through the validation, when they go through the testing process. So I can go ahead and I can change any of this text that I'd like to. Here. There are some more options available. The screen recording doesn't let me get to them, but across the top you can make multiple changes. You can decide how long you want the consumer to have to wait between products. You can change the default setting screens. All of that, there, it did start here. So you can change the participant screen. You can decide to show a consent form or not. I would recommend that you, if you do, that you update the text. Our default text is not complete. The sample start screen is here. You have a palette cleanse screen. This decides how long between products. Here I have mine set to 3 seconds. And then you have your participant end screen, which here will end after 10 seconds. When you're done here with any changes you make, you're going to click the submit button. The next step is going to be to create our questionnaire. This is where you would create the questionnaires that you're going to use for this test. Now there are a couple options here. You can create a new questionnaire or copy an existing. Since you are all new to RedJade, you won't have access to a questionnaire, so we're going to go ahead and create one. I'm going to call this vanilla ice cream. And I'm going to select a questionnaire type. And so here we may choose something like a single sample survey. You'll notice that this sentence after the short blurb is more indicative of what that questionnaire is like. Your single sample survey corresponds to a sequential monadic balance block design survey. So this is your product served one at a time. And I'll go ahead and click next. I'm going to select the samples I want to serve with that questionnaire. If you're only serving one type of product, you should serve one questionnaire. If, however, let's say you're doing vanilla ice cream and strawberries, you would use completely different questionnaires. How RedJade's data analysis works is it's going to run the statistics within a questionnaire. So this will allow me to compare dryers to these other 5 products. And I'll click submit. The next step is going to be to add questions to our questionnaire. So I click add questions. And from here you'll see there's a couple different ways to add questions, but the main ways are using the basic library here. So you have basic questions like a single select question or a multi-select question. But one of the best parts of RedJade is the RedJade library. This has 85 standard sensory questions that are available for your use. So for example, if you want to use the 9-point overall opinion question, start typing opinion, and then you can click the plus button and it will show, and it will automatically add that question to your questionnaire. Then you can do some other things in here. Let's go ahead and add a text question. From our basic library, we might add a text question. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new page, and I'm going to actually drag this question to the next page, and you'll see why in a second. I'm going to hover over the 3 dots in the corner, the ellipses, and I'm going to drag it down, and you'll see where the marching ants are is where that question drops. Here I'm going to go ahead and say, why did you like that product? From here I'm going to add some logic. Logic tells the survey how to act during the evaluation. So here I'm going to go ahead and add a trigger. Our trigger will be based on a question. That question is, please select the phrase which best describes your overall opinion. And the condition will be includes any of these. Please make sure to use includes any of these on your surveys. Very rarely do you need any of the other choices. If you get one thing out of this presentation, please get that. If the logic is not valid, this question will never show up. This question will now show if the person liked the product. You can easily copy the question, and instead you might say something like, why did you dislike this product? From here, you can uncheck items, and you can recheck items. So here, for example, this will show if you dislike it. If you want to preview your questionnaire, you scroll up to the first question, select it, and click preview. And now you can see if I say like extremely and click next, it'll now say, why did you like that product? So we can test our logic in the questionnaire as well. What we're going to do now is add some jar scales. RedJade has built-in penalty analysis. You'll see that this overall opinions question from the RedJade library has the reporting option selected of overall opinion. An overall opinion question can be classified as an interval scale typically. We go ahead and take the extra step of classifying it as an overall opinion scale, which allows us to run penalty analysis on this question versus all of our just about right questions. So let's go ahead and add a couple of those. So we might add something like sweetness to our questionnaire. Again, I start typing sweet. You can see if I start clicking through, it will show me I'm clicking my down arrow, and it's showing all the places where sweet may exist. And if I keep clicking, you'll see that sweetness will eventually come up. Right? Let's keep clicking. You'll notice it's showing me a preview of every question. When I get to sweetness, though, I'm going to click enter, and it will populate into my survey. You'll notice that any of the jar scales from RedJade actually show as a jar scale automatically. If you do not change what's written here in the reporting name, it'll automatically pull in all of the text that you have written here. For jar scales, it's okay that they're short. Let's go ahead and add one more thing from our library. Let's go ahead and add amount of, and we'll say few to many. And here we'll say amount of vanilla bean specks. Now what you'll notice here is that maybe some of our products don't have vanilla bean specks. So I'm going to go ahead and click logic. I'm going to add a trigger. And this time the trigger is going to be a sample trigger. And now I'm going to say includes any of these, and I'm going to say only Breyers and Great Value have vanilla bean specks. Some other things that you can do if you need to print your questionnaire or share it via PDF, you can click the down arrow here. You can click print preview, and then you can save it as a PDF and share it with your other classmates or teammates, as the case may be. When you're done, you're going to close your survey. I'm going to create one more questionnaire here to show you some additional functionality. Let's create a demographics survey. From here, let's go ahead and add it as a non-sample survey. And you'll see that auto start is selected by default. All this means is that the survey will start automatically when your consumers get to it. And we'll go ahead and click submit. Let's add a couple of questions. Let's make them really easy questions. Let's add, from our library, let's add gender. And we'll go ahead and add that here. We'll add a couple more responses. We'll just add decline to state. We'll go ahead and add one more question. Here we're going to add frequency of use. So let's go ahead and from our basic questions, let's add a text question. And here we're just going to say, how often do you eat vanilla ice cream? Now note that both of these questions that I selected, for one I selected the wrong question type here. Let me throw this away. And let's go ahead and add a single select question. How often do you eat vanilla ice cream? And here let's go ahead and put in our choices: daily, 2 to 3 times a week, weekly, every 2 to 3 weeks. We'll just add one more here so you can see how this works. Monthly, we'll go ahead and do one more, and we'll say less than once a month. Okay, so we have our questionnaire set up here. You'll notice both of these questions are single select question types. What I'm about to show you only works on that type of question. And I'll click save. I'm going to close this. Now I mentioned I was going to go back to my participants step, and I was going to click on the demographics tab and show you some additional functionality here. So here what you can do is you can go ahead and you can create a new category. So we're going to go ahead and create a demographic category. In here we'll say gender, and we'll go ahead and add male and female. And we'll go ahead and click submit. And we're going to go ahead and create one more, and this will be frequency of consumption. And this might be heavy, medium, and light. And go ahead and click submit here. Now what we're going to do is now we're going to click this edit mapping button. What this allows us to do is map that question to our questionnaire. So we click the demographics questionnaire. Again, only non-sample questions that are single select questions apply. We'll click specify your gender, and we'll map male to male and female to female. And we're just not going to put the decline to state people in these specific categories for running our data. And we'll click save. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and click on edit mappings for heavy, medium, and light. You'll notice those are not very friendly consumer terms. So what we're doing is we're saying a heavy person eats it daily or 2 to 3 times a week. A medium person eats it weekly or once every 2 to 3 months. And then we're going to say a monthly person is light. And we're going to ignore the less than once a month people here. When we're done, we click Save and Next. Our last step is going to be to click on our design block. You can name your design block if you want to. We're not going to here. And we're going to click Submit. Now, you'll see a couple of things. One is I've set my company up as a 3-digit company. If you'd like to do that, I can, you wouldn't have access to change it, but I'll show you how you can make yourself have 3-digit codes. So one is I have this box checked. What this does is this makes RedJade randomly choose a code for each of your products. If you have 4 digits selected, you can easily change it. Click the Actions button, click Edit Blinding Codes, and update any of these blinding codes that you want to. Let's say I don't want 2 that are in the 4s, so I change my code to 277. I click the Submit button, and I close it, and that's automatically updated. You'll notice by default, RedJade creates a fully balanced block design, sequential monadic balance block design. You do need to drag your demographics up and into your design. You'll notice it shows up as a 99 in your design. The other thing you'll see, remember in step 1 in location, it said it was going to put in a verification code. This 4-digit code is your verification code, not the 1001. If you do need to block products together, you can drag and drop. The middle will turn blue. If you need to link products, you can turn the right edge blue. All of that's available directly within RedJade. You can even link groups of products. If you don't want any of that done, you can just drag them out. You can break a chain by clicking the chain. You can drag products out of the design, and it will redraw your design constantly as you're using the application. This is actually a very unique feature to RedJade. When you're done, you click the green Approve button, and now you will finish your wizard. You have some additional things that are available to you now. So let's go ahead and click Finish Wizard. This takes us back to our desktop. You'll notice this little cogwheel here. You can export your design block. You can print your packing slips, etc. I'm going to go ahead and print my packing slips. You'll see what this does is it ties the information from the design block directly into an Adobe document. So I'm going to go ahead and click this open. Hopefully it opens while I'm recording the screen. I think it will. You'll notice that each piece of paper has the URL, the verification code, and the sequence of the order of the products that should be served. All of the information for you to complete your test. So let's see how this works. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open this link in a new incognito window. And it's going to say, hey, welcome to your test. Actually, it's not because I didn't launch it. Let's go back to our window here. Let's go ahead and from our green, we do need to launch our test. So let's go ahead and launch our test. Yes, we're going to go ahead and launch. And now let's go back to our screen. And now this is how it would load. So let's go ahead and let's close this and start over. Okay. Let's go ahead and go back. I apologize for clicking on things too quickly. Let's go ahead from here and let's open this link in a new incognito window. Now that I launched the test, we should have no trouble. This should go ahead and launch and go right to our screen. And you'll see it says enter your verification code. If I go ahead and have this take up a little less space, I'm going to go ahead and enter M7JR. You'll notice that it is case sensitive, and I'll click begin. And it's going to go ahead and automatically start my survey. I probably eat ice cream every 2 to 3 weeks, and we'll click next. The next thing it's going to do is have us go through our sample codes. Now you'll notice it helps you as well. It does tell you the sample code here, but it also tells you what it should be here. We make the person enter the sample code to double check that everyone's paying attention. And now we go ahead and fill out our survey, and we click next. Why did you like it? Say it was creamy. We click next. Now we have our sweetness, and you'll notice this is one of the samples that had amount of vanilla bean specs. When we're done, we click next. And you'll notice that this is going to go ahead and go through for all 6 of our samples. I'm not going to go ahead and finish that. If I click back on our projects button, you'll notice that I can go to view live results. This is going to take me to our live results for this test. So I can click on vanilla ice cream, and you'll notice that it's going to start tallying our data. So Breyers, we scored it an 8. We said it was creamy. We said it was not sweet enough. And we said that there were too few vanilla bean specks. Now we can do a number of things from our analyses. So one is, you'll see this blue arrow. If you hover above it, you can export your raw data. Below that is your top line analysis. You can download that by clicking the arrow. You can also click this plus button and use it to do something like create a penalty analysis. You're going to create that for the vanilla ice cream questionnaire. You'll see I have 2 jar questions and 1 overall opinion question. Now, it's not going to produce any data because we don't have any yet, but you will see that you can build that ahead of time. You can also create custom charts for your survey as well. So you can do that by clicking custom charts and using your questionnaire. The other thing you can do is you can click this filter data button and you can add new, and you'll notice that the category demographics that we set up on the participants tab are now available to us to run data. So we can say, I want males who are medium consumers, males and medium, and click save. And you'll notice that I classified as a male and medium, and you'll notice that it's going to show my data, and it applies the filter here and here, as well as in my penalty analysis. You can also download your penalty analysis. It'll create all of the charts and everything for you as well. Now, we don't have enough data yet for it to run the data, but you can do that here. You can change any settings by clicking these settings cogs as well. I'm going to go back to my project by clicking this Team 1 blue button. This will go back to my project. I'm going to show you some additional information that you'll find useful. From this download, we're going to go ahead and we're going to export our design block. Now, what you'll notice on the design block, this is going to export in Excel. And what you'll notice on this design block is that it's going to show us our sample IDs for each one of our samples, our verification codes, and all of the information we need for our test. I'm going to go ahead and open this in Excel. Okay. And what you'll notice here is that page 1 shows you each product and its assigned code. It shows you the serving order for each person along with the verification code here as well. Okay, so all the information you need to serve the test. You can also monitor your test by clicking this link. So I'm going to go ahead again and copy this. And I'm going to do a new incognito window here. Let's go ahead and paste this. And this allows me to see who's actively working on the test. You can see here that this person is actively working through their surveys. Okay. So this should give you a good overview of RedJade. Again, if you have any questions, our support channel is very helpful. Please rewatch the video, ask other students, talk to your teacher. And again, visit our support site. There is a lot of information here for you. Everything that I showed you today is available here. There is a smart search feature. You can enter any of the words that you're looking for here and it will search through. And as a last resort, you can submit a support ticket to support@redjade.net. Thank you very much for your time. Good luck with your projects.